So there's a lot going on with tonight's conversation. There's so much going on. However, I've been seeing people giving a lot of criticism to Dr. Cheyenne Bryan and also to Kittie Rose, but more so Kittie, because there's a lot of women who don't really understand her position as far as where she's coming from. So I want to give you guys some book suggestions, and I would like to explain what she's trying to say when she does her 30-second clips or when she's at the Tonight's Conversation shows. The whole point that Kittie is trying to make is you got to go from being a victim to learn how being victorious. You got to learn how to have power over yourself. So what she's saying is be a warrior in the garden. Don't be a gardener at war. Be a warrior in the garden. That's what she tried to get women to understand. And she want women to see that, hey, you guys see yourself as being victorious. You cannot allow yourself to continue to operate in the victim mentality, because that's going to continuously to hinder you. And she also deals with what is called the PTSD and the PTG. So PTSD, which deals with post-traumatic stress disorder, and PTG deals with post-traumatic growth. So the post-traumatic stress disorder look at the negative events that a person been going through in their lives and how it can impact them psychologically and emotionally and physically, etc. Right? But when you deal with PTG, that means you have went through the process of healing and being able to learn how to have some positive outcome in your life, being able to have control over yourself, being able to gain victory over oneself. Again, post-traumatic stress disorder and post-traumatic growth. So I want to give you guys some books that will help you guys to really understand more of where Kittie's position comes into place. All right. So some of the books you guys may be familiar with, and some that you guys may not ever heard of, or you may not ever read some of the books or whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there for you. The Way of the Superior Man by David Dieter. I think that's his name. Iyanla Vanzant, Acts of Faith. Carl Jung, The Undiscovered Self. Now, Carl Jung was a psychologist. He was from Switzerland, I believe. And he came up with the concept called analytical psychology. So analytical psychology deals with basically analyzing yourself, analyzing your situation, and what needs to be worked on. So he was the one that came up with the idea about the shadow work. So the shadow work is doing the internal work. And once you have done the internal work within yourself, now you can be able to learn how to see yourself differently and look at yourself in a better light. All right. So there's a part of us that we know about and that we are consciously aware of, but then that's the other side of us that is very unconscious. And that unconscious side, or that side that we ignore, is the one that we have to tap into and work in. So yeah, this book right here, I recommend. Africana Womanism, Literary Theory by Kenora Williams. And basically the whole purpose of these two books is basically saying that the women in the community have a responsibility. And they have a responsibility to work on themselves and to become the mother, the wives, the community leaders that they need to be. So I recommend these two books. And these books right here would definitely help you understand Dr. Cheyenne Bryant's and Kittie's point. The Will to Change. Men, Masculinity, and Love by Bell Hooks. Actually, this book is so useful. I mean, I give Bell Hooks her praise for this. She done a phenomenal job breaking down, analyzing the importance and understanding about men and their behavior and how this society has impacted men altogether, right? And how it also impacts women. So please get this book here. So, and then when you read this book, you'll be able to learn how to have a better relationship with your man or the men in your family or the men in your community. And this is Kittie's book, Safe to Love. Understanding vulnerability to manipulation, exploring the factors that make us susceptible. Pretty dope book. How to Love a Black Man by Dr. Ron Elmore. How to Love a Black Woman. The Female Brain and the Male Brain. All right, so it's important to understand how the male brain operates and how the female brains operate and how our hormones are very different. So in this book, you will learn the neuroscience. But you'll also learn about dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism deals with the species, the same species, right? But differences in biological makeup and physiology. So that deals with men and women being Homo sapien, right? But our differences in our biology and our physiology and our behavior and how we adapt to society, how we adapt in nature. Right? The Red Queen, Sex and the Evolution of Human Nature by Matt Riley. And It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolin. This is my personal favorite. So this book basically goes into the epigenetic, neuroscience, psychology. Yeah. But this book does deal with a lot of epigenetics. It talks about trauma, how it can be passed on down from generation to generation. So yes, please get this book. Know Thyself by Dr. Naeem Akbar. Very important. Dark Psychology and Manipulation Secrets. Oh yeah, you definitely need to learn this. Last but not least, one of my favorite, The Law of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Yes, definitely get this book. So, if you really want to understand where Kittie is coming from, all you gotta do is read those books. All right, just pick up those books, purchase them, and read it, and it'll make sense of what the sister is saying. So, with that being the case, I'm about to go ahead and log off. Peace. Thank y'all for tuning in.